Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to a passionate advocate for change and the driving force behind the Rising Leaders organization, Gladys Risma. As the founding executive director of Rising Leaders Cincinnati, Gladys brings boundless hope and enthusiasm to this work. She has an absolutely remarkable gift for seeing potential in young people who do not see it in themselves, and calling them to realize and release their God-given gifts in loving service to others. Gladys is no stranger to turning visions into reality. She's invigorated teams, developed strategies, and led turnarounds that helped companies she worked for outpace industry growth. She's also an entrepreneur. She founded Noonday Enterprises, a real estate investment and social impact venture. Gladys has also devoted many volunteer hours to serving on boards for Cincinnati Ballet, Greater Cincinnati Urban Young Life, and the church she attends. Her life is evidence of her commitment to making a difference in the lives of those around her. I am deeply thankful that Gladys chose several years ago to turn her vision, her entrepreneurial spirit, and her enduring hope to the work of Rising Leaders. There she has dedicated her life to developing resilient young leaders who will, with God's help, be a force for good in our community. I hope you get to talk with some of those young people today. But first, let's hear from our leader. She amazes and encourages me. She's small, but she is mighty. Please join me in welcoming the leader of Rising Leaders, the unstoppable force that is Gladys Risma.
They gave me a stool, because this is what it's like to drive as Gladys Risma. Anyway, look at you. You got up. I'm so honored and thrilled to be here with you all. Power breakfast. Together, we have the power to share our impact and the ambitious goals that we have set for our future. At Rising Leaders, this is crazy. Our mission is to renew the inner city by empowering communities and disadvantaged youth with the essential skills to succeed as adults. Is that amazing? We believe that every neighborhood deserves passionate, motivated leaders who uplift and empower those around them. And I want to point out that our logo is a flame. Look closely. It's shaped in the letters of an R and an L. And it represents the rising leader who becomes a light to the community, passes the torch of faith to the next generation, providing hope in our darkest neighborhoods. I don't think we've seen that for a long time. Rising Leaders was started because in another youth program, we found way too many promising youth who got fabulous scholarships but failed to launch successfully as adults. What sets us apart, as Dr. Benson said, is we have a unique leadership development ecosystem that starts with a core belief that their lives matter because God created them for a purpose, to flourish and to bless their communities. We're not just mentoring them, we're coaching them up to win in life by applying Leadership Academy lessons to real life situations. And we hold young adults accountable to their own goals. And when they achieve their own goals, they get rewarded, which provides training for the real world. And incidentally, that reward is real money because they got real bills to pay. Our leadership development ecosystem is the key to their success. Picture this. It's a recipe with ingredients working together to create something extraordinary. With this ecosystem, we vet those who show up and are coachable. We have Leadership Academy that teaches emotional health and relational intelligence. Do you need those to be successful? Well, they don't teach you that in chemistry. They don't teach you financial intelligence and algebra. I mean, relational intelligence. 21-year-olds learning conflict resolution when their whole life was cancel this and pump that. Truly, it has been amazing to watch you rising leaders who want to practice conflict resolution after having a social. Who does that? You do. We also teach cultural inclusion. Woo! Don't tune out on me. How can I celebrate God's created person who I work with but has different values? And how can I build bridges of love to that person? Kelly Hayden, Equity Builders, wow, you slay us every month with those challenging but amazing ideas. And for me, this is some of our most important work. Our certified, trained, amazing life coaches walk with the rising leaders to process life and challenge them to use the resources that they've been given. They have resources. They don't have poverty. Use your muscles, use your will. So, instead of pinballing from one thing to the next, alone and going against the grain from which they grew up, rising leaders have an ecosystem where they can discover who they are, be loved, be taught, be held accountable, have lifelines. Resources are given opportunities that they didn't have before, and they get to learn and be rewarded for mastering life skills, all in a community. And in doing so, our rising leaders level up from the poverty of their childhood, and they're being empowered to move forward with their adult lives, one goal at a time. Now, I understand that some of you might be really skeptical. I've talked to some of you, a lot of you. So I want to share with some details of our statistics. I have an engineering background, I have finance, MBA. I had a CFO who coached me, Gladys, if you can't manage it, you can't, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Yeah, yeah, you've heard those? Yeah. How do you measure adulting success? Good question. This is why Rising Leaders was created. First, work. 100% of our rising leaders work with an average wage growth of 51% and tenure of 9.8 months. This is for the average age of 21 in rising leaders. Rising leaders who are placed in leadership co-ops, paid leadership co-ops, have provided 33 years of community service. We've never seen that kind of work in our inner cities, where they go back and pass the torch of faith and hope to the next generation. If our rising leaders stay with us for 2 years, we have seen them, 70% of them, succeed in leading themselves well emotionally, culturally, spiritually, financially, and in their jobs. They have emergency savings. Some of them have been bragging about their credit scores. They send me their screenshots. We have alumni being promoted at work and ministry who are graduating from college and thriving in the military. Those are just a few achievements that highlight the transformative power of believing that you are possible. And it demonstrates the immense potential of people that we might have driven by and wondered, are you worth investing in? On your place settings, you have some of our rising leader bios. It's not all of them. And their hopes for building a future. Take them home, please. Place them in a prominent spot. Sometimes for me, the best place to read is the bathroom. Pray for them. Pray for them. I would like to share a success story that illustrates the positive ripple effect of rising leaders on young people's lives. Shaman is one of our OGs. Struggled. He grew up in a family that struggled with emotional expression. With the support of rising leaders, Shaman launched a transformative art and fashion program at Evanston Rec Center. This program nurtured the identity of each teenager and concluded with a powerful fashion show that showcased their unique talents and stories. One of those kids in Shaman's class is D, and he discovered a new way to express his feelings through art class. Dad was in prison, family of 9 kids, mother's sick, and probably at least 3 baby daddies. Anyway, Shaman recognized that a light had turned on in D and began pushing him to do better. D, responding to Shaman's mentoring, grew in his inner strength and resilience. His grades turned around. He started thinking about others and negotiated peace amongst arguing friends. Now D and 2 others with childhood obesity are working out with Shaman and growing in their faith. Now, how could Shaman have recognized that a light turned on in D if he didn't have the nurturing of his life coach, Michael, and a therapist from back to back to unlock his emotional vault? You are helping Shaman help others to believe that they are possible because Shaman believes he's possible. And that's your investment in rising leaders. When one person rises above their challenges and becomes a leader, they inspire others to do the same. We did an impact study. A rising leader placed in a leadership co-op touches 43 lives. We envision a city where every young person has the opportunity to reach their potential, regardless of their background or circumstances. And our blue sky vision for rising leaders is to create a network of empowered, confident, skilled young adults who will become the agents of change for their communities. Rising leaders who become managers and can empathize with young workers who have grown up in the skeptic, traumatic, and unemployment environment. We envision businesses lining Reading Road, led by rising leaders, empowering their creative and blessing their neighborhoods. We foresee youth programs led by rising leaders who engage youth in employment and bring a positive outlook instead of being sucked in by gangs, destruction, and death. I can tell you there are rising leaders at a library in Avondale on Friday nights teaching faith, family, fitness to young teens. There's a dance program that led to a Bible study in Avondale. Your generous contribution today will enable us to reach our immediate goal of raising $250,000 and set us on a path to reach more schools. As Lamarque said, we have taken our life coaching program to seniors. And the community response has been amazing. And you will hear from educators who want us back. They want us back for longer, for deeper, and wider exposure with our kids. But before I share the educator's video, let us be inspired by the words of the renowned anthropologist Margaret Mead. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." By supporting rising leaders, you are investing in the potential of our city's future leaders. Together, we can create a powerful force for change and forge a brighter, more prosperous future for all. Thank you so much. Let's hear from our educators.